You are now able to edit raw photos from Lumix inside of DaVinci Resolve and do all of your color grading, all of your color management inside of DaVinci Resolve. If you didn't know, this is now going to be basically a Lightroom alternative, and I'm sure it's only going to get more and more features. Lightroom is a subscription-based model where you're going to have to be paying every single month just to access and edit your photos. The raw photo editor in DaVinci Resolve is available for the free version, which you could download for free. And now you could do your photo editing and your video editing all in one platform package. And when you start to get better with DaVinci Resolve, you pay for the one-time payment, $300 for the DaVinci Resolve Studio. You have all the features, 10-bit video, AI noise reduction, everything you need is inside of DaVinci Resolve. So today I'm going to be showing you a walkthrough of how to set this up, how to get into it, and basically just edit your first raw photo inside of Lumix. Not inside of Lumix, inside of DaVinci Resolve with the Lumix RAW files. If there are things you already know, just go ahead and go to the chapters below and you can just skip on through. Welcome back. I'm very glad to have you here. So you have a Lumix camera. So now you have decode support inside of DaVinci Resolve. So we're going to do some photo editing. I'm going to give you the full walkthrough here. Let's get into DaVinci Resolve. So we're in DaVinci Resolve. I already have somewhere in my media storage where I have my photos. I'm going to take these 3 photos and I'm just going to drag them into my bin. And now I have 3 photos in my bin, in my media pool. Okay. So we can close the media storage. This is where it's on my computer, like in my actual computer files. So we don't need that anymore. Now we're in our project. What can we do here? We can go to the photo tab, open up the media pool, and we have our bin. If we don't see that, let's zoom in. Cool. We have our different bins, master, bin 3. This is where I put my 3 photos. So to get the full maximum detail and the maximum capacity, we're going to do some settings here and change what we're doing. So before we get into everything, I just want to give you a quick rundown what we're going to do. In the photo page in DaVinci Resolve, we have a raw file. We're going to use a DaVinci Resolve RAW decoder to put it into this specific space, the Adobe RGB and linear. And then we're going to go to the color page. Once we get into the color page, we're going to do the color space transform into our working space. So this is just to show you that what space we're going to put it into. Then you can put all your color grading nodes. You could do exposure, contrast, parallel nodes, serial nodes, up nodes, down node, whatever you need to do, you do it inside of the color grading nodes in between DaVinci Resolve, because this is the biggest space that's made for us to be working in. When we're done with that, we're going to use another color space transform, CST from now on, CST. We're going to use the CST back again to another CST, but we're going to convert it from DaVinci Wide Gamut and DaVinci Intermediate into something for display, which is Rec 709 and Rec 709. Or you can use Gamut 2.2, you'll see. And then at that time, this is the display made for normal display color space. So first of all, we have our decode quality here. We're going to be using full resolution or project settings. If we go to the settings icon on the bottom right, you can go into your project settings. This is per project. Every time you make a new project in DaVinci Resolve, or you can set it as a default by clicking this 3 dots here and hit set current settings as default preset. What we're going to do is we're going to set a raw profile, because I'm only using Panasonic stills, RW2, decode quality, full res, decode using project, and I'm going to set it. I want my white balance to be as shot, and I'm going to use Adobe RGB color space, and then I'm going to use linear gamma, and then everything here seems pretty much good. Because I'm not going to stay in Adobe RGB or linear, I'm going to convert it down to Rec 709 by the end of it. So we'll save that. A quick summary is this graph here shows you all the visible color space that we can have with our eyes. Rec 709 is a type of space that lives within this big white area, right? Which is made by like the CIE Institute, whatever. And DaVinci Wide Gamut, DaVinci Intermediate is this triangle here, which encapsulates a huge amount of this space. And you can see in this image here, it is actually from one of my videos, and I'm outputting in Rec 709. So it makes sure to fit all of the colors within this Rec 709 space, which is usually for displays. This is not what we're working with. We're actually working here. Well, actually, let me see. Looks like it's, I don't know. Looks like it's caching something from previous. Oh, it's not in my photo album. So we have our 3 images. You can do right click and create new photo album. We just make an album. Now we have an album here of our photos. This one, I already did a grade for it. So that's not how it's going to look. I'm going to reset my grade here, but we're going to get into that. Let's use a different photo. For example, here's a photo. It doesn't look right. It doesn't look normal. That's okay. That's fine. So what I'm going to do now is go to my color page and I'm going to set up my node tree. What we're going to do is use a color space transform, put that on. Where are we going from? Our input, what was it? It was Adobe RGB. So input color space, Adobe RGB. And our input gamma, we set it to from the decoding tab to linear. And what am I going to work in? I like to work in DaVinci Wide Gamut. This is what we work in. I'm going to duplicate this node. So I'm going to hit copy, paste, and now I'm going to swap it. And instead of going from DaVinci Wide Gamut and Intermediate into Adobe RGB, we're going to our display. So Rec 709 and Rec 709. Gamut mapping, we can use saturation compression, no problem, to fit the color into Rec 709 because DaVinci Wide Gamut is larger. On our input here, I forgot one thing. We don't need to do any tone mapping into DaVinci Wide Gamut. I guess, let me see. You can leave it on if you'd like. It's up to you if you want to do tone mapping. This is editor U coming back in. There's no problem leaving the tone mapping on. It seems to give you a better visual result from the start. So if you don't want to necessarily have the nitty gritty detail, being able to expand all the highlights or manage the low and the high side of the image, you can leave the tone mapping on and you can start from there. It's no problem. I'm going to say no, I don't want any tone mapping. The image looks very dull, very gray, but this is going to give me the authority, the capability to adjust it as I need. So we have our image, okay, we have our input and we have our output. Anything we do in between, now we're going to be working inside of DaVinci Wide Gamut, DaVinci Intermediate. So an easy way we can make this image look good, we can use the Film Look Creator, double click it, and color space overrides. I want to make sure we're using DaVinci Wide Gamut, DaVinci Intermediate on both input and output. See, input color space, input gamma, output, because that's what we're working in. If you notice, it didn't change because my timeline is already set to that. So if I go to my master settings, color management, my timeline color space is DaVinci Wide Gamut and Intermediate. So I could have left this on use timeline and it doesn't change a single thing. See, it's not changing. So I'm just going to leave it at use timeline so you know. And we have presets here. If I use Aurora, here we go. We already have a cool looking image and we can adjust it as we need. We can adjust our exposure as we need, our contrast, because we're in DaVinci Wide Gamut, we know where it's at. We can adjust, we can do, for example, put this into gamma linear for this node and we can adjust the white balance. Maybe we'll look at our vector scope and we're on gain and we can adjust the gain in a very natural way. There we go. Now it's more centered. I guess we have more space to adjust what kind of gain color we want or white balance. So now I've adjusted my white balance. I have the Film Look Creator. We can maybe add some more split toning, maybe extend it here. So we have some more split toning. Vignettes. We can add more vignettes if we want. Grain, add more or less grain. If you want to learn the full in-depth color grading, I would highly recommend Cullen Kelly. He knows what he's talking about and I learned a lot of things from him. So this video is not fully about learning how to color grade, but if you want to, I recommend going to his channel. And there we go, we have an image. So this is a wonderful way, thanks to DaVinci Resolve, for putting this photo tab in here. And now we're able to make all these adjustments. If we go back to the raw panel, we have some additional settings that we can do here. Am I zooming in here or what am I zooming in on? Not sure what's going on. Maybe we don't need this here. Filters. Yeah, I think that was actually zooming in on the image. No, it's not. So I'm able to zoom in on the image here. We can change our color temperature and tint in the raw. So this is everything that's happening as you're decoding the raw file. So basically in this raw tab, in the photo tab, I'm just going to be using this section to get the image in a usable space. I'm not going to really do all my color and adjustments and make it look how I want and put masks and things like that. I'm just going to get the photo in a usable space, meaning it looks good, it has what it needs, it has the color is there, and then I'm going to go ahead and adjust all of the things that I want to do in those nodes that we mentioned in the colors panel. We can adjust the exposure. We can adjust highlights if we need to, which I'm not going to touch because we did auto tone normalization, I believe. So, oh, it looks like we put everything back to where it was. No problem. Color boost. I guess this is, oh, well, it's breaking the image. Clearly it's breaking the image. We don't need any color boost. We can adjust saturation. I'm doing this all down the line, so I don't need to do it necessarily here in the raw tab. There is something here that's pretty cool. I guess sharpness. You can adjust the sharpness of the image. Looks like it's not doing anything. Up here we have photo preview resolution. So if we set this to full, I'm guessing now we're going to see the full details. The photo preview resolution is the resolution you're going to be seeing on your screen while you're working. And if you put it lower, it'll actually give you a faster response, but you're going to have less pixels to be viewing. So it really depends on you if you're going to be zooming in all the way and looking at all the detailed pixels, or if you're just looking at the whole image in general, I would just leave it on auto or put the resolution down if your computer is going slow. And I noticed that throughout this entire video in the OBS, you'll notice my camera kind of jittering because I guess it's using my GPU a lot, or whatever it is it's using. It's not able to keep up with the OBS recording as well as the video. Basically, lower the resolution if you need to, and if not, it's no problem. No, I'm not seeing anything. Okay, let me see if it's doing something like this. It's just taking a while. Oh yeah, it is. It's just very subtle. Wow, it is a very subtle amount of sharpness. So you can add sharpness if you want there. I'm going to turn on my effect preview back on. Maybe we can reduce the exposure a bit in the RAW tab. Mid-tone detail. Let's see how that is. Oh yeah, this is adding like, let me see. Mid-tone detail. Like contrast in a way. Contrast, local contrast. So just leave it like that. See how it looks. Basically, everything I'm going to be doing here is in the color page. We have our input. This node was my white balance adjustment that I made, a small white balance adjustment I made. And this is the film look creator. It really did all the heavy lifting. I mean, I don't know if this is a good image or not, but we're able to do it. And you're definitely going to be able to play with this, change the subtractive saturation here, maybe the richness. I mean, I love this tool. It's very good. Make things more deep. Maybe we want to do a bleach bypass, and now we're easily able to do that in RAW and have a full resolution file. I guess we can go to the export tab. We can just do the selected photo, and we have different options. We have HEIF, we have JPEG, we have PNG, and TIFF. So we'll just go with JPEG. Resolution, PPI, size, original. I guess the resolution doesn't matter. Oh, we could do by long side. We could choose like 2048 for a small item. I don't know if resolution here is going to matter for PPI. Quality, best, high, medium, low. So I guess it's going to choose the quality for you. We can include the metadata, or we can use a compression, and we specifically choose how much compression, what level of compression. Let's just choose automatic, and let's leave this at the original and see what we get. I'm gonna put this on my desktop, render. Here it is. Photo album 1, JPEG. Just use infrared view. Okay, so this is it. This is our image. Wonderful. Let's look at the file properties. So it's a 4 megabyte file. Details. So there's 5 different modes of automatic compression. So we're gonna go ahead and test all those 5 and see the difference in size and quality. So now we should have 5 images: best, high, medium, low, and least. And we're gonna see the size difference between all of these. So we have best, high, medium, low, and least. Much smaller, from 3.67 megabytes to 781 kilobytes, 519, 451, 421. So not that much difference between all of these. So I'm going to show you all of the images here. We have best, high, medium, low, and least. Is there any difference between any of these photos? You guys let me know. With 800 times zoom, so you can see the small, minute details. Best, high, medium, low, and least. I would definitely stick with best or high quality compression if you're going to use JPEG, automatic, or just set your own. I usually kind of do, depending on what I'm doing, 100 if I'm just going to like, I need the full zoom in details, or I'll go with like 80. And then you can reduce the size of these files, meaning I can make the longest side only 2048 pixels, or I can make the shortest side 2048 pixels. So you have everything that you need here. Percentage or megapixels, you can set that. All right, so that's the full just rundown tutorial of how to set it up, how to do the color manage, how to do the color grading. Not how to necessarily do the color grading, you need to know how to use the tools, but I gave you a couple options there. But if you already know how to use DaVinci Resolve, then this is the full setup. Put your camera in, use Adobe RGB, convert into DaVinci Wide Gamut, and finish it off in Rec 709 or Gamut 2.2 Rec 709 sRGB, basically color. Thank you. Please leave a like and subscribe if you got any value out of this. I hope to be seeing more people using DaVinci Resolve in the photo tab, especially now with Lumix. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.